Hello there. My name's Mark, aka the Canadian Jedi, and this is episode 114 of Holocron Chronicles. I am joined, as always, by my trusty co-pilot through the stars, Charlie Curtin. Charlie, how you doing tonight?
Vroom, vroom. I'm co-piloting it. Beep, beep. It'll even back up. Boop, boop, boop. Yeah, we're good.
Very
we are good.
Thank you. Yes, excellent.
It's the best I could do. Well, I know I can't compete with your new outgoing, your incoming co-host on your new adventures there.
Yes, that's right. I do have
to your side.
I do have my CH-1P chip droid here next to me. He's ready for action and sass. But we also, because Chip's not super talkative, so we also have some backup, which is returning and ongoing. I'm not even going to say guest. I'm going to say host, Peter Stein. How you doing, Peter?
Doing all right.
Good.
He is rocking that somewhat widely brimmed hat.
Widest I could find.
I think it counts. I think that's fantastic. And that may give people a slight hint at what we're going to talk about this week. But before we get into that, we have some amazing people that we have to thank, and one more person that we have to give a Star Wars race and a job to.
Yes, indeed.
So, Charlie,
let's party.
Run through this list, yeah.
As always, this will be music to the ears of anyone who listens to this program. We have this awesome group of people that support us over on our Secret Friends Unite Patreon, over at patreon.com/Secret Friends Unite, for 7 days for free, exclusive programs, early shows without ads, Discord benefits for as little as $2 a month after that 7 days, and half off of that, which is crazy for that first month. It's totally nuts. It's like you're losing money not doing it. I mean, you're losing joy, which is the ultimate currency. Everyone knows that. My buddy Derek Trevelyan, the figure dude, is amongst our fans, as well as Francie, who does my wife's hair, Mr. Luke Laura, the Xbox expansion pass, and my uncle Tim Horan down there in South Haven, Michigan. Also, John Sedorf, Brendan Myers, Corey in HD, Matthew Keel, my buddy Kurt Krug, who helps me out with all those great interviews, Tiny Lee, Chipotle Bear, Famous Seamus, Jay Newport 007, Cam the Movie Man, Brian Osterman, a.k.a. Darth Prozac, and our final new friend who is going to get his Star Wars race and job on this episode. That would be Mr. Freight Conductor. Don't call him FR8 because that's not his name, I was informed quite loudly.
Yep.
But yeah, he's the guy. And then, of course, the spectacular, nice family of the Twin Cities, Sean, Stella, and Henry, our biggest, wonderful supporters. We're grateful for all of you. But let's double back and talk about Freight Conductor. So, yeah, Mark, what are you feeling? We've done this. I think we've done this over on all the other shows. This might be the last time that he's getting his tee up. Yeah.
So, I mean, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. So Freight Conductor spells their name FR8, and I just think that screams droid.
Yeah.
I think we're going droid with this one. Maybe we just stick with everything's in the name, Freight FR8, and they're a conductor on some sort of high-speed train, maybe not unlike the ones that we saw in Solo or something like that. So I'm thinking just plain and simple. They gave us the name, they gave us the occupation right in there. So Chip, what are you thinking? You're liking that one?
Oh, he's into it. Oh, fun. It sounded like he was.
Yeah, we're approved like from the droid.
He was barking. Is he programmed with a bark? Ruff.
He just kind of says what he wants. He's got a bit of a Chopper-esque attitude, so a bit of a sass
no
to him.
It's be happy you didn't see subtitles, ladies.
Yes, exactly.
They bleeped out every word. God, Peter, I'm stumped. I might have to throw you under the bus and make you go first.
Oh, that's fine.
Because I don't know what to do with him.
I would tend to agree with Mark actually for the droid part, but probably because I've been seeing it a bit, but I'm going to say for droid, you are a commando droid from the Separatist Army who has found new life as a co-pilot on a freighter, similar
Ooh.
to
A
Dash
freighter.
Rendars from Shadows of
Okay.
the Empire.
Oh,
Yeah, I like it.
nice.
So
Love that.
YT,
What's that? 800? 1800?
Yeah,
One of those. There was an
something
8
like that.
in it. I
think
swear.
it's 1800. Yeah.
Gotcha. Oh yeah, because Dash Rendar did have a droid.
Which, yep. And that
Yeah.
ship makes an appearance in Rebels.
Yes, it's canonized. I love it.
Mhm.
Well, there's no doubt we're going to do a clean sweep here with the droid bit because it's a natural. But as opposed to that, I mean, I might have to give him a less fun job. He might have to be that droid that's in Jabba's kitchen with all the cleavers. That's flipping around.
That's still a fun job.
He's flipping around. He's chopping up vegetables, and he's just minding his own business, doing his thing. And then one day, there's Fennec Shan shows up and blows him to hell. So that droid didn't have a name. Now the droid's name is Freight Conductor. Got it. Boom.
Right.
Nailed
There
it.
we go. All right.
Satisfied.
And brings back another favorite segment from this show is the hilarious ways you die in Star Wars. So you went above and beyond.
Why? Yeah,
With
I didn't.
with that
right.
one. So
Well,
congrats.
I made him canon, and I don't know that any other character has been able to be canonized. So I'm actually kind of excited about that. Good deal for me.
Worked him in, to canon, to an existing storyline. I love it. That's fantastic. Freight Conductor, let us know what you think. Hit us up in Discord,
Please.
we'd like to know. And we may like now that you're saying like droid and like different jobs and stuff. I'm thinking like, is this like a battle droid or something? Like Peter, you were saying that. Like I'm thinking an assassin droid that just rolls through everyone. Like a freight train. They gave him that nickname because he's just like, he's the one that just clears the hallway kind of thing. You know what I mean?
He's Michael Duncan Clark of droids. Just
yes, there we go. There we go. So lots of options in the droid world, but I'd love to hear what Freight Conductor would prefer as a job. A little bit more action paced, or a little bit more just like, I like the chances of not being blown up in some of these other jobs. So we'll see.
Nice.
So like we said at the start of the show, Peter, Charlie, you guys are taking the show. We explained this already last week, but for anyone that didn't listen, that missed it, that needs a refresher, this is my last episode of Holocron Chronicles as in this current format. We already talked about getting me back to talk about some Star Wars video games, so that might happen at some point. We'll see. I'm not going far. I'm still going to be around. But I just wanted to thank everyone that listened, supported the show, joined us as guests. This has been a super fun 114 episodes, and I've loved learning more about everyone in the Star Wars community and people's introductions and Star Wars stories. And like I said a couple of seconds ago, weird little things like fun, hilarious ways that people would die in Star Wars. So it's been quite fun. It's been quite the ride. So I can't wait to see where you two take the show. I know you already have some ideas, some notes. I hope people will tune in 2 weeks. You're going right into it.
Right into it. Yep, we're kicking off. I'll give a little tease. There is a gentleman that we know as, and I sound like it's a Trump speech. I'm sorry. There's a gentleman we know as George Lucas.
He's the best one.
And lots of people are saying that.
You said that right as he said that name. That was kind of perfect.
But Peter and I actually decided. No, Chopper, come on now. Come on, Chipper.
I didn't even press the remote's over there.
Before
I was pressing
he just had to pipe in.
That's some Chucky shit right there. You better make sure you lock it up before you go to bed and be standing over here.
Yeah, he's fine. I don't think you can make it up the stairs.
We're taking the 5 films that have been directed by George Lucas. Now, of course, I take that back. We're taking the films directed by George Lucas, which is 3. And then the other two that make up the original trilogy. So, but we're tackling, first time I've ever watched it, I believe it's first time Peter's ever watched it, THX 1138. Never watched it.
Cool.
But that was his student film, was later made into a movie with Robert Duvall in the early 70s. And then the next episode, we're moving into talking about another movie Peter hasn't seen, but one that I like very much, George Lucas's passion project, the ode to his youth, American Graffiti. Will be our second episode, and then we're gonna take on the original trilogy. It's been so long. We're gonna bring in some different guests, get some different perspectives, and then we're gonna move into to talking about some different content and some different things. And just like this, always bringing back some news. We're gonna be seeking out new guests and some other guests that we've worked with on the network before, and just trying to keep it interesting and keep the Star Wars spirit alive until we get to the next show, which is we have the Visions coming up. We have the Lego special coming up. Right. And but yeah, we're going to dig into video games got talked about, comics got talked about. Mark, you and I did one with, I think, the first arc of Marvel's Vader from back in 2017. We're going to dig into some more of those, some deep dives into arcs and stuff like that. So just some of the stuff that we've talked about and done here and there. We're gonna turn around and just immerse ourselves in the deeper core. And I was saying this on SFU when we were recording the other day, two guys who love Star Trek and love Star Wars doing a show each about, in a similar format, exploring that passion, I think should put all the naysayers to rest that people who have this ridiculous argument that I only like one or the other, or I'm more of a Star Wars guy, I'm more of a Star Trek person, love them for their differences. And that's what we hope to illustrate. So yes, I hope people listening will continue to tune in, and people in our Discord communities and other people online hearing what we talk about. So yeah, that's what's up.
Fantastic. You mentioned some news, so let's dive into some news.
Yes.
First off, this is a bit of a I want to toot my own horn here, because I think I was surprised when I saw this, and I know I've mentioned it on the show a few times, and I've recommended it to people that I know. But Superman, David Cornsweet, is recommending that people watch Star Wars in the same order that I have been pitching for years, which is you watch basically a New Hope first,
okay,
and then Empire. So you keep that original. You keep the first movie is the first movie release. That is Star Wars. Empire, you get that big reveal.
Right.
Spoilers for anyone listening to a Star Wars podcast for a 40-something-year-old movie. You get the big "I am your father" reveal. And then you watch the prequels as kind of a flashback, tell the story of, what do you mean it's his father? How did this guy get to this point? Boom. Here's how he got to that point. And then you finish
how did this happen? Right.
With that final closing arc. And you can pepper other things in there, like Rogue One and that kind of stuff. But as far as like the core original trilogy sequels, and then if you want to get to the sequels, obviously watch those in order afterwards. But yeah, I've been saying that for years. I've recommended several people watch it that way, and it's really cool to see Superman, who is apparently a massive Star Wars fan, and his dream role is to be a Jedi. I thought I had read his pilot. Yeah, I thought his dream role was to be sitting in Peter's chair. Yes, there you go. Which is awesome, because that's my dream as well. I've seen him say both.
Okay. Well, I mean, Luke Skywalker was both. So, yeah, maybe he just wants to be a not such a fair-haired Luke Skywalker. I am absolutely an advocate of the Machete Order, which is basically what this described. Though I do believe he says in here, omitting the Phantom Menace.
So the interview, I read that. Yeah. The interview that I saw him speaking on this, he didn't omit the Phantom Menace. So I'm sure in the press junk we're asking about things, and he's giving some different different things. I don't know, but then so the quote that I have here is, if you're going to introduce new people to them, meaning Star Wars, you should watch 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 6. You preserve the
Yes.
twist of, spoiler alert, Darth Vader is his father. Then you watch 1 through 3 as a flashback, essentially. Then 6 it's not as strong as 4 and 5 as a film, but it's a great
Mhm.
the whole thing. It brings it all together.
Wrap it up. Wrap it up.
1 through 3, and it feels more like a saga. So that's the direct quote that I saw in the interview. It did say something about the machete order in this article from Slash Film. So yeah,
Right.
The order's been around for a while.
Yeah, and I so obviously the machete order, if a listener is not familiar with the concept, we've been describing it, but think about an alien or a Skrull or someone not of this earth, somebody who lives under a rock. Encino Man. Think about the movie Encino Man from the 90s. It's Brendan Fraser. He's a caveman. You're going to sit him down in front of a TV and said, "I want you to watch Star Wars." But for the fact that you're a caveman and maybe don't understand the plot.
This is the version that Steve Rogers should have used.
Yes. Excellent. But there you go. That's the very best way to, yeah, exactly. So you sit it down and watch it as comprehensive, 6-part story that you go, oh, there's this galaxy in turmoil. There's these rebels fighting fascism. They have a big victory at the end of the first one. The second one starts. They're getting their ass kicked and they're running around. The kid's trying to figure out how to be a wizard and yada, yada, yada. And at the end of it, the big bad guy says he's the kid's father. And then you jump into figuring out where it all went wrong in the past. And then swing it back and the story ends.
So I did find the X-Wing Jedi thing. So that is from a Vanity Fair interview between David and Nicholas Holt. So Nicholas Holt asked him if he would rather return as the Man of Steel in another Superman sequel or play a Jedi Knight in a Star Wars project. And David Cornsweet replied with confidence, without hesitation, Jedi Knight in Star Wars. Although he had previously clarified his dream role would be an X-Wing pilot. So,
boy, talk about a Sophie's choice.
He was just in. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a tough one. I wonder, has everybody here seen Superman, I hope? Did everybody go see it over the weekend?
Not yet.
Oh, okay. Well, not another word, but I will tell you, spectacular performance. And our spoiler cast for SFU came out, by the time you're listening to this. So if you've seen the movie, check us out. If not, we do split it up between spoiler and non-spoiler, but still, go see the movie, please. This is a wonderful film.
Do either of you have a preferred order to watch the movies? You release order, you just kind of watch them randomly through? Like, if you feel like I need the saga, like how do you dive into it? Peter, what do you usually do?
If I get the desire to go watch all of the Star Wars, I usually I do in universe chronologically. So I start with 1, 2, 3. Sometimes I'll do Rogue One, depending on how spicy I'm feeling that week, and then I'll go 4, 5, 6.
Yeah,
you drop Solo in there at all, or you just skip
I don't
that,
have a copy of Solo, so when I pick that up at some point, maybe I'll throw it in there. But
yeah. All right, that's fair. I've been thinking about doing a big chronological thing with all of the live action stuff, including shows. So start back at Acolyte and go all the way through right up to like Mandalorian, then the sequels. And I may tackle that if
that's a longer project, but it's not as long as if you decided to say, hey, I'm going to put in absolutely everything in like it's 7 seasons of Clone Wars and 3. But
keep bringing the Ewok films.
Yeah, you're. That's
and I'm
right.
really
looking
keep
it
for
canon.
content. Yeah.
They exist. They dug them back up.
Wait, I've got it. It's looking for Nub in all the wrong places.
Oh gosh.
Wonderful. I won. Thank you. I'll take my trophy now.
Charlie, what's your viewing order of choice?
I mean, I'm very much a randomizer. Because in a lot of ways, the films can kind of stand on their own in some places because it's not, you don't have if I'm thinking about the Machete Order, in those 6 films, a lot of them can kind of stand-ish on their own. It's not like, at the end of the Force Awakens where it's the big moment and you're like, oh my God, what's going to happen next? I can't sleep, but I would, if I was going to watch all 6 films, I would stick with this Machete Order, because it does give you the perspective of, this is the story we know so far. This is what shaped that story that we know so far in these 3 films. And then this is how the whole thing comes to an end. The Skywalker saga at that time. So
you said you do Machete, so you skip 1? Or do you do
is that what's officially
order?
Is that what officially is being said, is skipping 1? Is that what Machete Order is? No 1?
Machete usually cuts out most of 1, and I think parts of 2, depending on which. I think there's probably different.
There's
Machete
a couple
orders,
different versions. I think.
I mean, that seems.
I think like the most extreme
yeah.
cuts out like the trade stuff and just kind of basically skips to like the big battles.
I mean, I'm not into that kind of supercut editing. I mean, I'm talking about, I
sounds like someone who doesn't appreciate the shenanigans that happened that caused the Empire to come about.
Right, yeah. Exactly. No, I mean, I would not take it to that level where I need to have, I got to pause it and skip forward or edit this, like,
right. Yeah,
do so. Yeah, but the Machete. So I wouldn't be cutting anything out. But if I did, I could kind of see how, if you did have to drop episode 1, because so many of the key plot points of what happened in episode 1 get revisited by, Anakin saying, I'm so in love with her and I've always thought about her. And then I love my mom, but I left her behind and now she's dead. And, Palpatine.
A lot of the necessary points are revisited in 2.
Yeah, they kind of, so there's nothing from episode 1 that just, you can't get through the rest of it without. So if absolutely need be, I could see that getting cut out.
Right. I tend to jump around, and it depends completely on how I feel. Like, this is kind of my preferred order to do things in, and the one I recommend if like there's new people. I've never seen Star Wars. How should I watch them? But it completely depends on my mood. Sometimes I will feel like release order. Sometimes, like I said with Peter, I've wanted to do, and I have done that chronological thing, and I have this kind of pull to do that big chronological live action stuff, at least. Just because I like having that broad sense of a timeline, because things in Star Wars get released in such a crazy way, especially over the last 3 years. Like, you have things like Bad Batch and Mandalorian and, like sequel films. And it's just like, when the hell is this taking place? When did Mando exist again? Oh, right. Yeah. Luke is there, but Ahsoka's there. Oh, right. She's still alive at this point, but is she alive later? I don't know. So it's like, it can really mess with your brain, I think. And I think we can keep track of it because we're kind of into it and we talk about it all the time.
Right.
So if someone like me can be like, what timeline is this again? Like, I think a casual person might benefit from that kind of like, let's watch it in chronological order and see like the broad spectrum of what the hell's going on in this galaxy. So it's I don't think there's any wrong answer. So I'd love to hear it again.
No doubt about it.
People
as long as you're watching it and enjoying it, that's really where it's at. Yeah,
I'd love to hear people in Discord. Let us know what's your favorite watch order. How do you do this? That'd be some great talking points.
And we chaos and you watch it backwards.
Oh my God, watch it backwards. That's like back in the 80s, the people that would spin the record album backwards and with the devil messages, Judas Priest. Yeah. Oh no, let's not do that.
So if you just watch them in reverse order, that's one thing. But if you actually watch them like in reverse, like Anakin revives a full village of Tusken Raiders, like I think that's like there's some really fun bits of like
you would skip to the very end and then hit your reverse button and then just watch it without sound. It would just go backwards like in little, oh my God. Oh my God.
someone with way too much time on their hands can make that happen, and I want
Please.
a copy. Please send it to me.
They would call that the Bizarro cut, like
The-
Do you
Bizarro
ever want to
Superman.
feel like the timeless wills? Now you can.
Yeah, right. It doesn't exist. It's all pantomime. You got to learn how to read lips really quickly because it's going backwards quickly.
Yeah. So the next bit of news that I wanted to touch on is Andor has received 14 Primetime Emmy nominations.
Woo!
That is, I think, a very good number of nominations. They've included
Gotta be a franchise record.
The complete list includes Outstanding Drama Series, Outstanding Guest Actor for Forrest Whitaker, Outstanding Directing, Who Are You, directed by Janice Metz, Outstanding Writing, Welcome to the Rebellion, Dan Gilroy, Outstanding Character Voiceover Performance for Alan Tudyk, Outstanding Production Design, Outstanding Cinematography, specifically for the Harvest episode, Outstanding Fantasy Sci-Fi Costumes for Harvest again, which is an interesting... do they have to pick an episode, I guess, maybe for these nominations? Like you can't nominate the series as a whole?
Well, just like the first and last one are
yeah.
just the series as a whole. So
right.
Yeah. Very strange distinctions, but I guess if they have to pick one, pick Harvest and go with it. Maybe. Outstanding picture editing, outstanding music composition, outstanding original music and lyrics. Again, Who Are You? We Are the Gore. The last three of those were from Who Are You? As well as these next two, outstanding sound editing and sound mixing. All for Who Are You? The We Are the Gore Planetary Anthem theme episode. And then outstanding visual effects. 14.
Fantastic. Can you think of a single other Star Wars program that's gotten an Emmy nod? That'd be a number for Google.
The Acolyte received one for outstanding sound editing for a half hour for episode 5.
Okay.
Night, which
I mean, and again, I don't want to put down sound editing or sound mixing, but that's very technical.
The sound in that episode was that's the one where Chimera revealed himself, and that was the lightsaber fight. The sound editing in that episode specifically definitely deserved a nod because the different hums of different lightsabers, the cortosis effect, like there were so many things, the trees, the
there was a
lightsabers
lot of
cutting through the trees, the popping, crackling,
ambience and stuff going on
too. Right.
100% deserved it.
More to my point, I guess I was really thinking of the acting, the writing, the outstanding overall series, and the special visual effects, which again is technical. I find this to be more so because I agree with all of this. And if it was a clean sweep, which would never will be, nothing ever really will be, right? So, but to think of it as recognizing performances by people, writers, directors, actors. I don't think there's another Star Wars show that's gotten anything like this. Not even a 10%, not even a 1 out of 5 of this. This is just, it's so recognized, and it would be so brutal if they didn't get outstanding drama series. You know what I mean?
They have to get something.
It worries me because it's it's a sci-fi show, it's a space show, so blah blah. It's the same reason that Peter will appreciate this at 2828 exactly, Star Trek reference. How those always tended to get overlooked, and they might win a nod, and they might actually win an award, but it'd be for something technical, or it'd be for a lower bracket like the Saturn Awards or something like that. Not not the Emmys, not one of the big EGOT categories. So. So should we play this game of what do they have the most chance of getting? What do they have the least chance of getting? What do we think?
As someone that doesn't follow award shows, and specifically for those kind of reasons that you just listed, I mean, I can throw out some stuff. I don't know, like Peter, do you follow award shows? Do you want to jump on this more than
I don't really know much of anything. The last time I really paid attention was when The Lord of the Rings won most of the Oscars.
I'm probably about the same boat. So Peter and I, my insight is, pretty low. I'd love to see it win outstanding drama series, but I also don't know what it's up against.
Right.
So this is
You have to
the
check
drama
it.
series that I think I've enjoyed the most, but like
Mm-hmm.
I don't watch a lot of drama.
Right.
It's tough to
Yeah,
guess.
that's the issue. Is it really depends on what something's up against, because a lot of times, to be a little cynical, if you have something that's a little bit more artsy or avant-garde, that's just going to
Yeah.
win straight up, because all
Yeah.
the critics are like, "Oh, I'm sophisticated," and it doesn't
Yeah.
really matter if it's good or not. It just means
Yeah.
that they feel better about themselves.
100%.
Oh, right.
So
I completely agree. It's
Right.
all depending on
It's
that.
too snootage
I
to look at.
I think it
it
has
doesn't
those
happen all the
down.
time, but that just seems to be how it works.
Yeah, I can't disagree.
I think it has a pretty good shot of winning something. Like original music,
Mhm.
lyrics, that kind of thing, like
Yeah, I think
something like that.
The car, the
So,
galaxy is
I do
watching.
have so other best drama nominees: Last
Oh,
of
okay.
Us, Paradise, The Pit,
Paradise,
Severance.
Paradise was
See,
great.
Severance, Slow Horses, White Lotus, and The Diplomat. So it's up against some pretty well
Diplomat was
received
pretty
shows.
Um, I
But I
wouldn't
think
not the Last of Us this season. That's for sure.
no, yeah. So I think that
Well,
one's
the second game
out.
wasn't received particularly well either. So.
No,
All right.
yeah.
Paradise was terrific. If you've not seen it, The Pit. I know April watched The Pit. Severance is people go crazy for it, but I didn't. It didn't really grab me.
It
So
took me a couple of tries to watch through Severance. Yeah, it
Yeah,
didn't catch me on the
okay.
first run, and my brother kept raving about it. So I'm with you
Yeah.
there. But again, it's that like level of like, oh well, this has to win because it's more grounded, or this has to
the
win because
snootiness
it's
level.
this,
And it's funny because Severance is essentially in its own way, its own kind of science fiction. It's science fiction thriller.
Oh, yeah,
You know,
absolutely is, yeah.
So,
It'd be
I
interesting to see.
yeah, I would just really like to see, to see the show get its propers, because as we've talked about, the three of us and other of us on the show, it's to me absolutely peak Star Wars. I think that on television, I don't think that there's been a higher accomplishment than Andor, particularly the second season. So that's my hopes for them. So they'll get something. There's no way that they can with
I think so.
14 noms. Yeah.
Sci-fi costumes, maybe the costumes in
Yeah.
that show were phenomenal.
This does say, and it's funny, I answer my own questions if I would actually read down to the bottom. Despite this, it does say Andor remains the prestigious, but it did not match 24 noms for the second season of Mandalorian season 2, which I enjoyed,
Wow.
but it's nowhere near as good as Andor season 2. I'm sorry, even with that final segment, which was with Luke and stuff. And
I will argue it depends on what you're in the mood for. If I want something that's just like fun entertainment, Mandalorian's gonna win every time. Like if I just want something that I can kind of like sit down and enjoy,
Yeah.
like a popcorn summer movie kind of way.
Right.
If I want something that I need to think about, it's going to be Andor every day. But
Right.
I think two vastly different things. It's like saying, the Hurt Locker is better than a comedy. Well, if you're in the mood for a good comedy, like watch something that's funny, but if you need that intense drama, but it's a whole different ballgame.
Right.
So it's apples and oranges, I think, in that case. But crazy that it got that many nominations.
I know.
Holy,
That's great. It's great. I'm psyched for it. Good deal.
wild. Absolutely. All right. Talk about another show that we haven't talked about that came out 7,000 years ago.
Exactly. 7,000 years ago.
A long time ago on a television set far away.
Exactly. We got kind of interrupted, I'll say, by Andor being fantastic and wanting to talk about that and not take a break to talk about this next show. But this one dropped when? This was the May. Was it not?
Wait, 5/4. Yes, on May the 4th.
May 4th,
yeah. 6 episodes dropped, which was a Saturday because it was also Free Comic Book Day. So I know we slammed these down and then headed out to the shops. Yeah.
I watched the first episode in Fortnite, which was a really like weird experience, but they previewed the first episode like 3 days early or something like that.
Oh,
in a special place in Fortnite where it was like you weren't like competing. It was just they kind of dropped you into like a Tatooine looking town, and there was a big screen with this first episode just constantly on loop. So I watched this and then had to just wait a few days for the
that's
other
weird.
5
That's kind of
episodes
neat.
to drop. Super weird. We also got to
Yeah.
play with lightsabers and blasters if you wanted to. There were stormtroopers walking all around, or you could just kind of sit and focus on the screen, whatever you wanted to do.
Yeah.
So really weird, like marketing for this
Yeah.
one, and way to drop that a little early. But I mean,
It is an
Disney
interesting choice. Yeah.
bought a big stake into Fortnite. They do a lot of crossovers, and the crossover
Right.
season with Fortnite and Star Wars was, I think, either happening or just about to happen at that point. So it made sense at the time. But going back to watch them for this recording
Yeah.
and like watch them all at once, I was like, oh yeah, I remember watching this in a very different way than the
Right.
usual Disney Plus kind of shit.
That would be so bizarre. Yeah, to watch them
yeah.
within a video game. Yeah.
So how do we want to do these? Break them up 3 by 3 and kind of go
Yeah.
through the first
Yeah.
overarching bit.
I'll just I'll blast through these summaries and we'll do it that way. So split into 2 arcs, 6 episodes of between 14 and 17 minutes each, because I was looking to make sure that I would have time after work to get all these in. So the first 3 episodes deal with our favorite pale-skinned anorexic Sithish assassin, Asajj Ventress. You could call her Curly if you wanted to, because she's got no hair.
She does now.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. You're
She's
right.
not the bald harpy anymore. She's had
she-
hair since Clone Wars season 7.
She's blasting
Absolutely
out that very new wave kind of. Don't you want me, baby? What was the name? What was the name of that group? You know, she had the hair like that girl. It's very 80s, very new wave, very Brit. But anyway, first segment is called A Way Forward, and I believe we have different directors but the same writer. So Saul Ruiz directing the first segment. Story by the Hat himself, Mr. Dave Filoni, written by Matt, I want to say Meshwinowicz, but it's Mishkanovitz. Anyway, his name, I'm just going to call him Matt. After Asajj Ventress dies, which is probably pretty confusing to people who didn't see her die, her body is taken to Dathomir by Quinlan Vos and Obi-Wan Kenobi. Mother Talzin tells Ventress she can return to life due to her love for Quinlan, but the price is that she can't be with him. That's a toughie, but she wants to live, so she accepts it. Flash forward a couple of years, she is reluctantly helping a young Jedi while she's working in a dead-end job, working as a waitress in a hotel bar. You see, it's that song. Peter doesn't know it, but Google
I know
it.
the song. I just don't know
Okay,
the name of the
fine.
band.
I'm just saying, is it level 42? Yeah, no, I think it might be level
You
42.
could say
Don't-
literally any band, and Peter and I would be like, "Yep,
It's the Beatles.
100%
That's the Beatles, guys.
Well, I know it's not that.
It's the Beatles song you never heard.
Limp Bizkit's first big hit. That's-
Oh my god!
Don't You Want
She
Me, Baby?
reluctantly helps a young Jedi who's searching for the path, tying us back to Obi-Wan Kenobi, a secret route that Quinlan has established for surviving Jedi. They escape after fighting and killing an Inquisitor. So that's the end of part 1. Skimming through, let's say, we don't have any breakout. They list some of the voice cast, but it's really nobody like, oh my god, it's that guy. Segment 2 is called Friends. Near. I could do this all night. Stuart Lee doing the directing again, Filoni and Matt doing the story and the teleplay. Ventress and the Padawan, his name is Lyko Strata, boy, that's a Star Wars name, meet up with the former bounty hunter's acquaintance, Lats Razzie, and her droid C-21 High Singer? I think High Slinger would be better, whatever. In return for the information about the path, Razzie enlists, I love Razzie too, Razzie. Works with her hair too. Enlists Ventress and Lyko's help in stealing an Imperial shield unit array, so it's a MacGuffin quest, which is what I put in my notes. When the heist fails, Razzie and Heislinger attempt to collect the bounty on Lyko. Instead, Ventress stops them and forces Razzie to give them coordinates to the path. Part 3. One warrior to another. Nathan Villanueva handling the directing, same story credits as previously. Now we're on a desert planet. Ventress and Lyco encounter a former separatist and his granddaughter who have been fighting a tribe of raiders over a water source. When the raiders attack again, Lyco is able to communicate with them because Jedi stuff. He and Ventrance convince the man to stop fighting and share his water with the tribe. One of the tribesmen directs the pair to the path, but they decide not to go and instead continually traveling together. Aww. The end of part one. All right.
Yeah. Do we want to stop and talk about this, or just flip on into the next bit, talk about everything all at once?
Let's just, we'll just do it all because like my notes are kind of like the way you set up your questions and just kept rolling. All right. Well, now we're into part two. So episode 4 is The Good Life. Well, look at this. The directors are bing, 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 the same. The 1, 2, 3. That's weird. So same director and writing team as episode 1. A pair of young orphans, Colby, my favorite kind of cheese, not really, and Nero survive on the crime-ridden streets of Duro. By scavenging and stealing after a gangster named Laszlo Panaflex, never mind, gives them some money to spend on food. And the food is terrible. All they eat is like candy. I mean, no wonder they're
crunchies.
They're all hyper. To spend on food, he offers them more to do a job for him. Yep, sounds like a great idea. Nero is reluctant, but Colby agrees for a higher price. The orphans cause a distraction outside the casino, allowing Laszlo and his gang to rob it. Colby escapes with the gang, but Nero is caught by the police. End of episode 1.
That was definitely not a casino. Thank you, mister.
Yeah, exactly. That was just, kind of a crappy back room, like betting in the back of a bodega, basically.
Yeah, it was definitely more mob level stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which robbing it also really seems like a bad idea. But, but again, the guy got away, but he was all planning it and stuff. So, yeah, good point. All right, next segment, A Good Turn. Again, matching credits. An adult Colby, now calling himself Cad Bane, no hat, returns to Duro. He does get a hat with his girlfriend Erin, spelled with an A, after Laszlo is killed and Cad takes his hat by the marshal there. He runs Nero, who became a deputy marshal despite the fact going to juvie. He turned his life around to stay out of his way. Bane lures the marshal, who tells Nero to stay away. Nero goes anyway and accidentally distracts the marshal, allowing Bane to kill him. Whoops! Aaron is injured in the crossfire, wanting to save Bane's life. Aaron disarms him so Nero can arrest him. Ouch.
Yep.
Love is tough. Final segment, One Good Deed, same creative team as segment 3. Years have passed after Bane was arrested, and he is released from prison on a technicality and returns to Duro. In that time, Nero is now marshal, married Aaron, and had a son named Isaac, which seems a little fuzzy because I thought Isaac, they seem to lean on the fact that Isaac is Cad Bane's kid.
Later in the description.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Sorry. Nero ignores the warnings to leave town and instead insists that he can handle Bane. He confronts Bane and reveals Aaron died years earlier, kind of like Jyn Erso's mom. Bane kills Nero in front of Isaac, who Bane realizes is his biological child. What? Where did that come from? And then leaves to continue his life as a bounty hunter. Not even any sad music as he walks away. Michael Bell is a guest actor. If it's the guy who I'm thinking of, it's this dude right here. It's Duke from G.I. Joe. So that's if it's the same guy. But other than that, we have a lot of familiar voice actors who were in the Clone Wars and the Bad Batch.
Yeah.
All right, that's it. Mark,
perfect.
Take us away. Take us away.
So for this, as a whole in this anthology, let's start there and ask if there's a specific episode or which segment you liked better. Kat, Asajj, was there anything? What stood out to you the most? We'll start with Peter.
I think the stories that stood out to me the most were Cad Bane's, because it was new information, I guess. because with Ventress, I mean, we basically see the last couple pages from Dark Disciple. That's what
Yeah.
that beginning shot is. So having read that, that was like, oh, that's kind of neat. We're gonna see that. I wasn't the biggest fan when she reappeared in the Bad Batch out of the blue. So this gave a little bit of an explanation on why that happened.
Yeah.
But it's still, I like it when characters have consequences.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. And she didn't end up having any. Not even at the end of this.
No.
Yeah.
So I mean, it does mean that the character is available and you can still do stuff with her later. So that'll be interesting. But I think that Cad Bane's gave us a little bit more. It told us something new about a character that we didn't know much about. And it's one of those things that it doesn't necessarily add a ton, because your average Clint Eastwood tough guy doesn't necessarily need to have a backstory, right?
Yeah.
Because he's the stranger who comes in and just beats the shit out of everyone and leaves.
Pew, pew, pew.
So it's interesting that we have a backstory for him now,
Yeah.
But even then, it still kind of leans into the stranger thing because you don't know who the hell Laszlo is either, and he's very clearly who Cad Bane is basing a lot of his stuff on.
It was just like in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, and the dude at the beginning, Fedora, who then gives him, and he happens. He's wearing the same outfit. His shirt is slightly different, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, he looks a lot like, he looks almost exactly like Cad Bane, slight different in coloring. Although I did think that his face was sculpted a little bit more to look like Clint Eastwood, which I thought was kind of fun.
Yeah.
But that was the story that I thought was a little bit more interesting because there was a little bit more. It was something that we hadn't seen before. It was tied up together. It led somewhere that we knew what was going to happen, but it didn't. It wasn't like, hey, now they're going to go off on more adventures. It was, and now you know where this tough, badass bounty hunter came from, and he's going to go mess it up, and you're going to see it later in the Clone Wars. So it was an origin story, and I kind of liked when Tales of the Jedi did that, like with Count Dooku. I thought that as an when these shorts do like the origin stories, and when they do them right, I think that they really work really well, particularly with Count Dooku and Cad Bane here, because they give us glimpses into the characters. It's not just a continuation or like a little bit of a shovel digging deeper into something like with the Ahsoka stuff, but this is something like something that we haven't seen, gives a little bit more depth and context. So that's all that is to say. I like the second arc a little bit.
Charlie, what about you?
I'm going to flip the script, and it's funny. I'm kind of two minds about this because I liked the first segment of Ventress's story, but I didn't really like it beyond that. But it's kind of a toss up because I thought it kind of quickly devolved into like some pretty regular cliche-esque kind of stuff. But I really loved her Lazarus Pit moment and how she had to make this big decision. And it was great to see Obi-Wan for a second. I don't think he said anything, but again, it's a double-edged sword because the Dark Disciple. I never read. I'm really bad at reading books. I was aware of what happened in it, but I didn't read it. Your average viewer probably didn't read it. Somebody going into this probably looked at that and said, "What the hell's going on?" But that is quickly overridden by the fact that she, has to make this horrible life-altering decision just to be alive, and then. I wrote Wikipedia is your pal if you don't know what's going on, because you can quickly read a summary. It's like, it's no big deal. But I thought, that Quinlan's heartbreak was really palpable. And even if you didn't necessarily know what the hell was going on, it's not too hard because so many of us watching this are adults and we can kind of intuit what's happening. But I enjoyed the rest of the segment. I loved seeing her finally break out of her shell and chop up a bunch of stormtroopers. That's always one of my favorites. I like tying it back to the path, which is a part I really enjoyed about Obi-Wan. And then the saber battle she has with this Inquisitor, who we never learn anything more about, which is totally fine, really kicks ass. Unfortunately, from there, I just feel like the other two segments of this arc were kind of paint by numbers. The kid's got all his Jedi cliches, and he's like, well, fear is the path to the dark side. Or, he said fear leads to anger. And I'm like, you knock it out for the greatest hits, kid. It's boring.
He's a Padawan. He doesn't know any better.
Yeah,
exactly.
I
thought that was weird, yeah.
He's just a dumb kid. I do like, and I didn't grab her name at first, but if we go back to the notes, the girl with the pigtails, I said she's like an assassin Pollyanna, or who's the girl with the big long with the red braids. I'm drawing a blank. There was a bad movie about it in the 90s. Oh my God, this is going to kill me. Somebody, if you listen to this on Discord, help me out here. But it was just, and she turns out to just be another, scumbag. Well, you can't trust Ventress, but you sure can't trust me. And at the end, she sells him out. So, but the MacGuffin hunt was very paint by numbers. It was very, we saw it like 50 times in The Mandalorian. I wrote the fishy walks and the hunt for water and the peacemaking thing. Okay. But in the end, they kind of ride off into the sunset. But I wrote, well, this kid dies anyway, or they'd still be together, right? Or maybe she finally takes him to the... He doesn't want to go to the path. He wants to be with her. So he probably dies. So, oh, well. We don't need to get into that.
Yeah. I kind of agree with you, Charlie. I did find the Ahsoka stuff, or the Asajj stuff, spoke to me a little bit more. Specifically, I think because I just finished Dark Disciple.
I'm the only one with my no reading.
That, after reading that was a continuation with a story that I was very much involved in and enthralled by. And I thought still kind of like Peter said, it fills in those questions that we had at the end of Bad Batch. Like, what the hell? I thought she was dead. How did she come back? And now we know that. But I do like how it still leaves a little bit more of that mystery of like, what kind of magic is this? We know the Night Sisters can use magic. We know that they can bring people back from the dead, but we've seen that in the form of like zombies, undead before. So she seems to be fine. She doesn't seem to be a decaying corpse that's still reanimated, but like they say, you can't have what your heart desires. I mean, if she sees Quinlan, she dies instantly. If she tries to get with him, she's dead. Like,
the rules are a little fuzzy. Like if she goes to like they're in the same restaurant, does he not see her? She like she's eating a cheeseburger and like he looks over and like, why is that burger floating in the air? I mean, the rules are fuzzy.
To still return to and still explore if they wanted to. But I could see them doing that in a book or even a comic or something like that. That's like a one shot. Or kind of more, introverted, exploratory kind of like, here's how this shit works kind of book, which I would eat up in a heartbeat. So I like that it left me with some of those questions, gave Ventress the yellow saber. I like that, like protector, consular kind of saber. Interesting choice there. And again, like, New Order 66 survivor that you think you see this kid and you're like, how did this idiot survive? And then a couple minutes later, they have a badass lightsaber fight with a new Inquisitor. I just got a set of those Govi lights for behind my TV that like light up with scenes and stuff. Lightsaber battles are always great. This was no exception. For lights in the room, that was a great fight scene. But like, the double stab in the back from this kid, and then like seeing him kind of like scale up the wall and keep up with Ventress, as like, oh, okay,
it's
this
like
kid might not be as dumb as he looks.
He had to get rolling to finally be like, well, I'm going now. Where before he was like, he couldn't even do a mind trick on the chick who was running the train station. I
mean, she was very single-minded about money. So
she was kind of reminded me a lot of you think of Rhea Perlman, who was the bartender in the Bad Batch.
Yeah. So I thought from a character standpoint and like, different things like that, I do agree. It kind of fell off a little bit, the episodes 2 and 3. I did like, Peter, I don't know if you kind of appreciated this too, but like the introduction to the Bounty Hunter Guild looked like a trailer for a video game in the best kind of way. Like you had different unique, interesting looking characters using different skills, fighting against each other. It really kind of looked like a hero shooter style intro.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed the hell out of that. And then it was kind of like, paint by numbers, fetch quest,
Yeah.
but we did get some cool shit like,
Right.
the droid guy going into spider crawl mode, which should have probably tipped us off that they were going to be bad, and like the red glowing eye.
Yeah,
There was
red glowy eyes and spider crawls are like
fun. But the super spin laser death of
The
Doom
IG-88
was
moment, that was
pretty. It's always fun to see. So yeah, love it, love it.
Yeah,
what was
these
that?
characters were in Clone Wars a couple times, so it's kind of fun to see.
Oh, were they really?
Yeah.
The Pollyanna
Yeah, so
death?
I think the first time you see them was on that farming planet where Hondo's trying to take it over, and Obi-Wan and Anakin save it. It's the one that has the line of "This is no longer profitable." Like,
oh,
that
there you
bit.
go. Okay,
So
okay.
that's where they first show up, I
I love
think.
that.
Oh, gotcha. All right.
Yeah, it might. I'm not a huge fan of Cad Bane, so that also probably plays into my enjoyment of like, but in a way that like, I don't know if we need a backstory. Kind of like what you said, Peter. Yeah. Like,
this was kind of the Book of Boba Fett all over again, which is ironic because he was in it, but it was like it was very compounded by it was explicitly painted by numbers. You got some kids. This was like the Star Wars version of Boys in the Hood / New Jack City, which are two movies from the early 90s that I would not be surprised if you guys didn't know that much about. But they were very big to me when I was a teenager. But, candy from strangers, knocking over a casino. I said, oh, normal parts of growing up. But, then we get into all the bits. Friends torn apart, big time jump, friends back together, making bad decisions, another betrayal, time for a shootout. Bane knocks up his girlfriend. He goes to jail. Girlfriend marries the friend. So it's just, and then oh my god, the big one was the most hackneyed line of anything that I hate the most is "You took everything from me." I can't. I don't even know who you are. Is the only way to answer that one. Yeah. But still, I'm like, they use that in the promo for this, and I'm like, oh, this. When I heard it in the promo, I was already like, no, please don't.
And
that's fair.
Yeah, so I kind of agree with like what Peter said earlier with, like questioning that, like, is he better as a mysterious foe who just kind of comes in, messes some stuff
like
up?
Boba Fett, right?
And when I thought of that, yeah, it does kind of like, okay, cool. Like he's kind of an irredeemable piece of shit. You know what I mean? Like in Clone Wars and everything else that we've seen in Bad Batch, like he's kind of an ICE agent of Star Wars, like he's stealing kids. He's doing stuff for like the evil empire. Like he's an asshole. And I've never really particularly liked the character. And then watching this one, I'm like, oh, cool. The irredeemable piece of shit is still an irredeemable piece of shit. All right, cool. At least I know how Asajj came back watching the first segment. So, there were some very cool bits, and I think overall as 3 episodes, the Cad Bane one was better put together and more interesting.
Consistent. There was a through line.
Consistently interesting.
Where Asajj started up here, and then we dropped into this, and then we dropped into that. Yeah. And it was, and at the end of it, they were like, "We're riding into the sunset," and the kid's probably going to get killed. I will note, and it was maybe more at the end of Cad Bane, as they're doing the big pull out, Cad's walking away, you're pulling back to the rooftops, that you get music very reminiscent of the theme song to The Last of Us, which is a beautiful piece of music. So I enjoyed that very much.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of Cad Bane's music is heavily Western influenced anyway. I think they wrote a theme for him for the Book of Boba Fett.
Right.
It's actually a really nice piece of music, if you haven't heard it. Heavy guitar, very reminiscent of the old spaghetti westerns.
The Spanish guitar,
So I think that's one of the things that I at least appreciated about this particular set of 3 episodes was it leaned heavily into the old western stuff, and that's probably why all the tropes felt like, and we've done this before, because it was leaning into all of the old 1970s cowboy movies.
Yeah, the big shootout at the end where they're shooting and then it knocks the one guy off the roof and he's like, whoa, falling forward.
It felt a lot like the old Western movies, which is
Yeah.
probably why I thought it was kind of fun, just because it was it was clearly like, hey, Cad Bane's the cowboy bounty hunter, right? Now it's time to do more cowboy stuff. Hey, Filoni, we know that you like cowboys. We get
You're
it.
wearing that hat. You're wearing that damn hat. Yeah, exactly.
So, but yeah, so
for sure, absolutely, yeah. They both had, I think, good points and bad points to the segment.
Yeah.
So I did want to ask this question. I know we're kind of like pushing up on that hour mark. Do you guys think that these anthology series, we've seen 3 of them so far.
Right.
So at this point, do you think that they have been adding enough to the characters that they decide to focus on to kind of justify their existence? Are they doing their purpose and adding to the tales, or are they just kind of like fun fluff pieces that when they come up, you'll watch them, you don't think about it much afterwards? Like, what are your thoughts now after 3, I'll say, seasons of tales?
Yeah. Three tales of tales.
Where is it landing for you guys?
I mean, I would totally say, yeah, it's not appointment viewing. And it's not something that you need to watch to be like, no, I really need to have a deeper understanding of the mythos of Star Wars and blah, blah, blah. It does fill in some nice blanks. I think the Tales of the Jedi one, I won't say it's it was the first, and like the Count Dooku stuff was great. I liked the Tales of the Empire one the best, because of how it dug into, and I'm trying to draw a blank on her name, the nice young lady. Who?
Oh, not Elsbeth.
The Jedi gal.
Yeah.
I'm drawing a blank.
Luminara's apprentice, Barriss Offee.
And it's voiced by Patton Oswalt's wife, Meredith Salinger, who is a goddess. So I loved. I enjoyed it for that reason. And I think I really enjoyed that, and enjoyed seeing her. That was a redemptive arc. That this was somebody who was truly bad, and followed it all the way through to that she redeemed herself and then died in the cause. I thought that was nice, but again, you're taking characters that are all Filoniverse characters, and it's not Han, Luke, and Leia, and Darth Vader and Chewbacca, so it's not Skywalker saga stuff. But in the same way, it's important to break out of that mold. Otherwise, you're always going to be stuck in it of like everything is Skywalker, and yeah, you got to build the universe by fleshing out these characters. So, so it's more kind of inside baseball watching level kind of bit, I would say. But yeah, mildly redundant. There were definitely some mildly redundant bits in this, the Cad Bane stuff for me, and the Paint My Numbers bit from, the Ahsoka, the Asajj starting strong and finishing weak. I feel like didn't necessarily earn its place, where this was maybe the weakest of the installments overall, in my opinion.
I get that. Peter, where is it landing for you?
I think, I don't know that all of these have added a ton, and I think for me, the Empire one was really, really short. I think each episode was like 6 minutes at best.
Yeah.
So those ones particularly were weak for me, and also I didn't think that they just because it was Tales of the Empire, particularly with how they did Barriss Offee's story, it didn't feel like it was focusing as much on the Empire like it felt like it should. Like Tales of the Empire doesn't feel like it needs a redemption arc. That's the Jedi thing.
Yeah.
So like Elsbeth stuff was good, but too short.
Yeah.
Especially with like, she really knows Thrawn and she really has a connection to him. You barely showed it. You need to do a little bit more.
Right.
So I think that out of everything that they've done, the Count Dooku stuff is the strongest, partially because that character has so much to him and he's such a pivotal part in the saga as a whole, because he's the linchpin for the Clone Wars.
Right.
It was, I thought, really, really helped me understand the prequels.
Yeah.
With a timeline given to everything. I don't think up until this point I realized how close to everything like Dooku fell, and how much that integrated into like the story that we're so familiar with, and it was just kind of on the back, like the sidelines,
happening at the same time as episode 1.
That's right. So like,
I think I didn't, when I saw episode 2 the very first time, based on the math, I had figured out that Sifo-Dyas and all that had to happen around that time,
Right.
but I didn't know how that worked. So,
Yeah.
and I thought that Dooku had left the Order before that.
Yeah, me
Because
too.
they never gave you a timeline. So that was
Right.
really cool that they gave you how close it was and how much Palpatine's shenanigans and machinations are all just like, okay, it's go time. It's happening now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think Tales of the Jedi does a really, really good, and I guess that's why they did Tales of the Empire as a redemption, because Tales of the Jedi has a fall. So I
Right.
guess that's why they did that. But I think that that's like the strongest story arc that they have, because it dealt with such strong themes and dealt with such an integral part of the Star Wars story. This is interesting, and like there's bits about Asajj that we've seen before and learn about her, and that's kind of cool. And then Cad Bane, like I like the character, and I think I've said it on this podcast before. I said it a couple of places before. Is I like it when villains are villains, and that's it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. They don't
I
have
remember you saying that on the show.
also make them
they
great.
don't
Yeah.
have to have like, oh, I don't need to know that Palpatine was an orphan back in the day,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
he was so
that's-
sad,
yeah.
and that's why he became evil. No, he's just
Right.
a jackass the whole time.
Yeah.
Right.
And so we
Always
kind
mad.
of see that with Cad Bane. Like he's kind of innocent early on, but then you see like those stirrings, and you see like that darker side, and then just takes full blossom later on.
Yeah.
So like I
he leans into
appreciate
it.
that,
Yeah.
but as a storytelling aspect, where it's like
Yeah.
sometimes a bad guy, especially for storytelling purposes, sometimes a bad guy is just a bad guy.
Sometimes
That's
a cake is just a cake. It's very Freudian. Yeah. Like date of the cake. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely. I think you guys nailed a few points that I kind of feel myself. Like it's nice, and there have been varying degrees of success in the Tales series of telling different stories, but they're all interesting. But I think it's pretty like a lot of it's like inside baseball. A lot of it's I think made for people like us who like
Yeah.
want to know what the third diner over in the 3-second scene in this episode. Like I want to know what they had for breakfast, and like
What
this
was
is
the
kind
Tuesday
of
special? Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like it's a lot of that stuff, and sometimes it'll tie into something a little bit deeper, but otherwise it's kind of a fun little window. I don't think if they were like, hey, this is the last Tales thing that we're not doing anymore, like I don't think I would be upset over that. I wouldn't be like, but you need to tell tales of
the droids.
whatever.
Yeah. Tales of the Droids would be next, or Tales of the Wookiees or something.
Droids animated, but now different.
So that's the next thing I wanna ask and kind of leave this on is, what Tales series would you like next? Are there any particular theme or characters you would have it follow? We did get one of these in Discord.
Yes.
While you guys think about this, I will read. Jax the Knight wrote in and said, I would like to see some Tales from the Outer Rim, and it being focused on characters like Dexter Jettster or some of the clones that left their platoons to start new lives. I think that would be interesting as hell.
That could be
good
pretty
stuff. No doubt about it. Well, my answer is super obvious. I mean, my heart always lies in the cockpit of an X-wing. Mark knows that. Peter's sitting in one. So if you want to call it the Tales of the Starfighter or the Tales of Rogue Squadron or something, I'd like to see, something really nitty gritty about, what it takes to become a fighter pilot and what, sacrifices they have to make and kind of what that looks like. I'm not exactly sure how you would put it all together, but you know what? They'd figure it out. The problem is that these tend to spin off of existing characters. So how would you do, like, would this be like, well, Wedge Antilles was kind of a part of Rebels, so are they going to do something could they do something a little bit more entrenched in the Rebels series and time frame and everything? So I guess that'd be my question.
Yeah. It's kind of
That'd be interesting. I mean, I don't know if they're beholden to one specific timeline. I mean, it seems so far to be
I was
Clone Wars era,
thinking
but like
they're trying to spin more on characters that you've seen elsewhere, not necessarily for a lead character, somebody new, like they had the Padawan kid, but Ventress was driving the boat and Cad Bane was driving the boat in his thing. So it was about him. So yeah, so how could they take somebody like, are they going to take the Admiral guy who ran the ship in Rebels, Admiral Nakamura or whatever that dude's name was, and have him be the main guy or have it something like that. So I don't know. Anyway.
Adventures of Chopper.
Adventures of Chopper. Yes. Yeah, Tales of the Droids. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Is that your answer, Peter?
No.
You have a real one.
I have two thoughts on this. And it's anyone who knows what I like to read probably knows where I'm going with this. So I would do Tales of the Unknown Regions and do the Chiss.
Oh, yes.
I'm a huge fan of the Chiss.
The Chiss.
So we could see the backstory of Thrawn, which we have in book form, but
yes, and comics too.
Animated. So then you can see some of the Nihil and all the stuff, and the Grisk and everything that's going on over there. That would be kind of fun to see those in some sort of visual medium. So I think that would be fun, particularly with Thrawn or Erelani or characters that we've seen in the books. And I mean, Thrawn is a known commodity for everyone. He's been around. So that would be kind of fun to do that. Another one that I would like to see also, I don't know what you would call it, Tales of the Rebellion, perhaps, and show not the political intrigue of Andor, but just some of the the mission-y stuff that the non trinity of the originals are doing. So, and I'm gonna bring him up again because I love this character, but you could bring back Kyle Katarn for this. And you could tell stories of the rebels doing daring do and all of this. You could almost make it Indiana Jones-ish if you really wanted to.
Dr. Aphra.
There's a lot of things that could be done if you did Tales of the Rebellion. It doesn't have to be the same sort of intrigue and really complex stuff that Andor did. You can just do war stories that are war spy stories with Tales of the Rebellion.
You could still use some existing characters too, as a thorough point. Like you could drop Melshi in there because we know he's done some missions that weren't with Andor necessarily.
Yep.
You see him leading that squad through the trees that we know ended up in Rogue One, but there's some stuff there that you could really grab onto and
explain in the middle, why is Bail Organa actually a big deal when they kind of downplayed him big time in Andor season 2?
Yeah.
So why is Organa such a big deal in the Rebellion? You could have a big thing where he has to be a sneaky guy on Coruscant and not get caught and all of that.
Right.
That could be interesting.
Yeah, I'd love that. That'd be amazing. Yeah. For me, I kind of wonder if they drop some hints at what they're going to do for the next one in each of these. So I'm very curious to see if they were dropping hints for the path, and we could see Tales of the Path or something like that, where it would be maybe a little bit more focused on Quinlan, a little bit more of. I mean, I'd love to see Cal Kestis be brought into another medium from video games. So I think seeing that develop and how a few different Jedi were working on a few different versions of the path, but I think there'd be a really interesting way to converge those and kind of have Quinlan meet Cal and be like, I have a location, I have a method, let's work together. I think that'd be I'm trying to think of there's a few others that I would love to see. I don't know exactly how to what to name it, but basically I want to see some more of exactly what Charlie kind of you mentioned before in a kind of way. So far we've gotten stuff that are away from the the Holy Trinity, Luke, Leia, Han. I'd love to see Tales of the fallout of the Empire or whatever, Tales of the New Republic, maybe. I don't know how you want it, but what are they doing at that point? I want to see some more stuff like in Battlefront 2 with Luke
Oh
going and
yeah,
doing good and
right.
just like that kind of stuff. But I think you could do an interesting one there where Luke's doing some stuff kind of in the post original trilogy world, but then tie that back to something in High Republic, Old Republic, that you
Yeah.
have that kind of like Jedi who, what do they call it in the High Republic stuff when the Jedi kind of go on their own
Oh, they're on
way?
their questy
Wayfinders,
quest
whatever
thing.
it is. Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Wayfinder, or they're, oh, I don't
Wayfinder.
know. It's not a wayfinder. No, it's
Yeah.
oh, you're gonna kill me now. I can't remember. But yeah,
I can't
there's a
remember.
title for it. When they
Anyway,
basically
that kind of
they go on
concept.
walkabout, like like in the Australian outback,
Yeah,
on
that
walk
kind of
like Crocodile
concept of
Dundee.
like I'm
Yeah,
following the Force. Tales of the Force might be a good way to do that one, and just kind of like someone who follows the Force to do good in the
yeah,
galaxy through their own methods and what that means. And it doesn't matter if you're helping someone who like Luke in Battlefront is a great example. Like he's helping someone who's in the Empire, and he's like, what does this mean? Like, how do we walk away from this? There's some great
right,
interactions in
right.
that I think if you're not a video game fan, you didn't hunt down the cutscenes like Charlie. Sounds like you have.
I'm the
Um,
hunter.
I think there's some stuff there that we could see that could also enhance stuff from the Mandalorian. That is
Hmm.
like, oh, this is how Luke became that legend that made Moff Gideon shit his pants.
You're
Like,
right.
there's that kind of stuff, but we also can see the good that Luke's doing in the universe. So
Yeah, yeah.
I'd love to see that kind of stuff. And I again, yeah, Tales of the Force or Tales of the something, I don't know, Wayward Jedi. We already
The
got Tales
book,
of the Jedi. Go on with
the book of the midichlorian.
Another one that came to mind was maybe doing a different version of Tales of the Empire that's a little bit
yeah,
longer.
Yeah,
And like, for instance, a character that has appeared in live action at this point, and is probably going to appear more so in later stuff, but Gilad Pelion
oh
could
yeah,
be an interesting
Sander
character.
Berkeley. Yeah,
He could be an interesting character to delve into because that character is written in such a way that he is clearly not an evil character, but he believes in what he thinks the Empire stands for. So that would be a very interesting character to
yeah,
um, show. So I
excellent.
don't know what other
I'd love
character you
that.
would show in juxtaposition, but that would just be an interesting
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you
Good
could
deal.
even go with like Saw, for kind of like someone
Right.
who thinks they're on the good side, but like we saw some stuff in Andor, we saw Rogue One, we saw Bad Batch. Like
He's
Yeah, he
very
does some
gray.
really
sometimes
even
thinks
in
he's doing the right
even
thing,
in
and
Fallen
he's
Order, he does some pretty sketchy stuff.
and in Fallen Order,
He's like
too,
a gunmetal gray. He's so gray. Yeah, exactly.
yeah. So like I think that would be like
Yeah, that would be
this
an
guy's
interesting
saying he's
juxtaposition.
in the
Yeah.
Where it's
rebellion,
like
but like
Pellion's on the wrong side, but he's a better person. Saw's on the
Yeah.
right side, but he's terrible.
yeah, I'd
You're
love to see that.
just
That would be-
terrible.
It would be so interesting to see. I think they could do some
Yeah.
really fun things with that.
Wild.
Love that juxtaposition. I think that's the best one to end it on, Peter. Thank you.
Yeah.
Um,
Cool.
Fellas, we've gone a little bit long this episode. I appreciate you sharing all the thoughts with me on this
Oh
Tale
yeah.
series. This has been fantastic.
And now it's the tale of Mark's departure. He's riding off into the sunset, but he's not. He's not jumping into a trash compactor. But yes, the show will go on. But Mark will return to us, and he'll return to Co-op, and hopefully we'll have him on things related to Patreon. We'll have you on SFU. But for now, come back in 2 weeks if you listen to this to listen to Peter and I delve into THX 1138, which is George Lucas's first foray into film, in a format that is maybe not exactly the same as this, maybe not exactly the same as Code 47, which is the other show that Peter and I do, but perhaps a blending of the two. But we hope to have you back again. Mark, if people still want to engage with you, even if you're not podcasting anymore, where are you going to be at?
Yeah, I'm still going to be doing stuff over on Instagram. Still planning on doing like 3D printing stuff, cosplay builds, all that kind of shenanigans, and the same kind of usual content that I'm doing. So you can follow me over there, mostly as Canardian_Jedi.
Excellent. Peter, what about you?
You can find me most of the time around the interwebs at Petrus Aquinas. I'm not terribly active, but I am active somewhat on our Discord.
Yes.
So that's kind of the main place you can find me.
Discord is the jam to be. Well, in addition to be very active on our Secret Friends Unite Discord, you can find me on my big three for the socials, which would be Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky as at the C3 TheCeeThree. But come on over to that Discord, fun, safe conversations about pop culture and geek life. If you don't find it when you're looking in Discord, if you know anything about Discord, please DM one of us somewhere and we will give you a link, and it's going to be that easy. But with that, we'll wrap up. We'll sunset Mark's time as a host by saying, may the force be with you. And as I always like to say, sharing is caring. Keep on trucking.
May the force be with you. Thanks, everyone.